A group that goes by the name Parliamentary Monitoring Group this week assured Nigerians that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu means well for all segments of the country through his tax reform bills, and that the bills were designed to rescue the country from its economic quagmire. This comes as the debate for and against the proposed tax reform bills continue to heat up the polity. The group called on both chambers of the National Assembly to give the tax reform bills a speedy passage and to treat the tax proposals as a matter of urgent national importance. Kingsley Ayozie, a fellow of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, joins us now to discuss the brewing controversy over Tinubu's plans on tax and how to get the buy-in of all critical stakeholders to ensure a smooth passage of the bill. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us on Newsday.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for having me around.
Well, first of all, let's start, with your opinion on this fiscal and tax reform, bill. Why is it necessary at this time? Do you think it's necessary?
Thank you so much for that question. The bill is necessary in the sense that the Nigerian tax law has overstayed its welcome. How do I mean? Over the years, these laws have remained dormant, and a lot of things have happened within the polity, within the economy, that requires to impart on especially the ease of doing business. I want to believe it was in that light that the President and Commander-in-Chief thought it wise, first and foremost, to inaugurate the Presidential Fiscal Policy and Tax Reform Committee that was charged with the mandate to review all existing tax laws and think of how best to make them be in tune to current realities. Again, to look at those ones that have overstayed their welcome and expunge them is a welcome development from my own assessment.
And we know, I guess the question is, what's it going to take to get these stakeholders to buy in on the changes? We know that the committee has already submitted 10 new bills to the National Assembly. They've identified that some of them require legislative amendments rather than just executive orders. How soon can we anticipate?
Well, no doubt, the bill comes with some sort of gain and some sort of pain. And I think it is the pain that the masses are really focusing on. But we need to also look at the other side of it, the gain aspect of it. One area that gladdens my heart has to do with the proposed incentive that will be given to small and medium scale enterprises. Prior to now, based on the Finance Act provision of 2023 as amended, which took effect from 1st January 2024, small companies, by small companies, we're looking at those whose turnover range from 0 to 25 million are not required to pay tax. But in this current bill, that threshold is now being taken upward to 50 million. So it means that once this bill sees the light of the day and is being passed, once your turnover falls within the range of 0 to 50 million, you will no longer be compelled to pay tax. VAT will also be exempted for companies in that light and also withholding tax. Another important thing that is captured therein has to do with those whose monthly income, the payee, falls within the range of the minimum wage, that is the proposed 70,000. So if you earn anything close or below that, you will no longer be asked to pay tax. So those are the gain aspect of it. But then the other aspect of it has to do with the VAT, which is where a lot of stakeholders have been crying foul. Because if you look at this bill, from all indication, next year, when if you see the light of the day, it means that the VAT rate may likely go up from the current 7.5% to 10%. But the corresponding implication is that the company income tax for large companies, which is currently ruling at 30%, will have to drop to 27.5%. Then in 2026, then the VAT will have to move forward again to 12.5%, whereas the company income tax for large companies will not drop to 25%. So I think stakeholders are really looking at it from the VAT. I understand because the end point still boils down on the consumers. They are the ones to receive this. So it's a two-way side. Let's look at the gain and also look at the pain. With that, we can further ahead.
But if you're focusing only on the gain, how then do we mitigate the effect, of the pain? Like you said, it's going to fall back on the consumers.
Exactly.
How is this going to affect businesses, especially those within the high income network who are already struggling with a high cost of, with the high cost of doing business? How are they going to cope?
If you recall what I said now, prior to now, the small and the medium companies, once their turnover range is 0 to 25, you do not pay tax. But in this proposed bill, if it passes, then the turnover range will now move from 25 to 50 million. So it means that for small enterprises, you now have a more breathing space to actually do your business and get exempted from both the company income tax, the education tax, the VAT, and withholding tax. So to small companies, it's a win-win for them. It's a win-win for them because they now have a larger space to breathe in, and more taxes will not be exempted from them. But for the bigger companies or large companies, they will have to bear.
There are reports that the bigger companies already are not paying taxes, or they are not paying the adequate amount of taxes that they are supposed to pay. So why don't we, get them to actually pay what they are supposed to pay first instead of increasing it? How will that be implemented when we're already struggling with getting them to pay right now?
Well, that's where the regulators need to do a lot of work, and there must be total sensitization. There must be awareness. Then we need to also look at our revenue collection process. Any areas where we have seen passive leakages, those leakages need to be blocked. Then the government should also think of how to address the issue of corruption, such that whatever comes in actually goes into their coffers. With that, I think we will be getting to the desired destination. So leakages must be blocked. Corruption within the system need to be addressed, and more importantly, provide that desired enabling environment.
And frankly speaking, it seems like these regulators and revenue collection agents are going to have their hands full. They have a lot of work to do, just like you said.
Exactly.
There's that 25% tax rate on millionaires, or billionaires, excuse me. Individuals earning 100 million naira or more monthly. What do you make of this? Obviously, people within that tax bracket are wealthy in and of themselves. How they came about that wealth, we're not sure. But sometimes they're in high-ranking government positions, technocrats, et cetera. Do you anticipate any pushback from this particular 25% tax on the rich and the whole implementation, seeing as how it's hard to implement anything anyways?
Certainly, I do anticipate that, because the high net worth individual will feel as if they are the one carrying the burden of the entire masses. As a matter of tax should be based on what you earn. So why removing those at the lower chamber and bringing the burden onto them? So there will be some kind of resistance, and I think that is why we'll be having this heated debate within the polity, because those who feel that this bill is not favorable to them, I can bet you they will do everything humanly possible to ensure that it does not see the light of the day. But like I said, when you weigh the gains, look at the pain, it is, so to say, a welcome development.
But then I'm wondering, how inclusive really was the process of coming up with this bill, where all the stakeholders involved, in coming up with this bill? And then also, I asked a question earlier, is it really necessary at this time when we are facing so much economic hardship? Is this the right time, to talk about this bill?
Okay, let me address the first question you raised that has to do with whether it was all-inclusive. If you look at the composition of that committee is made up of well over 80 personalities. When I use the word personalities, we're looking at technocrats, heads of most government agencies, heads of professional association, ICANN, CITN, the head of agencies. You have the Federal Revenue Service chairman, you have the Immigration Controller General, and what have you. So all of these are represented. So I want to believe
the everyday man in car.
There was provision for students, youth, women. So there is no way you extend it without capturing all of these people. So the composition actually met the requirement of what an ideal tax reform committee should be. Like I said, numbering well over 80. We've not had such, And I want to believe that the outcome of this is not just the brainwork of one person. The rest will not just be there and just be looking at one person to take decision. And remember, this committee went all out to engage in consultation with stakeholders. As I speak, over 40 sectors of the economy were consulted. Input were received. Memorandum were also brought in to arrive at what we have today.
Well, fair enough. Before we let you go, we know a couple weeks back the North was a bit upset with these tax reform bills. They came out against the tax hike, citing potential harm to regional interests. What are your thoughts on their objections? How is it going to inform the way that changes are made and the plight for these national tax reforms?
Well, sorry, I didn't take the last question she asked before yours.
Go ahead.
Because she mentioned the issue of timing. I'm aware there is hunger in the land. I'm aware that the high cost of living is becoming too unbearable. And it's obvious that humans rarely eat 3 times a day. So it may not be ideal for us to begin to talk about increment in tax, especially at this point in time that the economy is biting hard. But then on the other aspect of it, because I have taken a critical look at this bill, as events unfold. Part of the things that this bill tends to do is to protect the vulnerables, the low-income earners. I think on that, I want to stand by them because they seek to protect the low-income earners, the vulnerable, the small and medium companies. If not for that, probably I will be on the other side. But for the fact that the masses are actually being taken care of in this bill. So the time could start now.
Okay, Mr. Kingsley Ayozie, ICANN Fellow, thank you so much for joining us on Newsday.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.